Now for a word from today's video sponsor, BetUS. BetUS is an online gaming and sports betting company. This is America's favorite sports book and an A-rated sports book on Sportsbook Advisors. BetUS has every single sport that you can think of, especially college football. Y'all know, Coach, I like college football. So anything from the coin flip to who gonna score the first touchdown to what boxer's going to win in a big time prize fight. They got it all, and it's all on their website. So for me, you know I love football, and the NFL and college football seasons are here with basketball right around the corner. So if you like to bet on the NFL, NBA, Major League, college sports, all that, horse racing, whatever you have, this is the place to go, man. So if you sign up with my link today down in the description, BetUS is giving away 125% sign up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets because it's the 30th year anniversary. So go ahead, use my link in the description to sign up, get your bonus. Sound like a pretty sweet deal to me. BetUS supports the Fan Addict, and the Fan Addict supports BetUS. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, remember to gamble responsibly because we not out here telling you who to bet with, but we just telling you here's an avenue that you can use to do that betting. Now let's get to the video. Boise State, Washington. We're talking the preview today. College football is back. It is Coach I got the stat guy with me. It's the Fan Addict on the Fan Addict Sports Network. Let's get into it, man.
The Fanatic, where we keep it 100, keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk, you know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina, upstate, 864. Yeah, the FANATTIC, the Fanatic, where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what.
All right, college football fans, we are back with another game preview for week one. Stat guy, how you feeling tonight, man? College football is here.
Hey, man, we're right around the corner. You know, we're recording this. We are a week away from week one. Hey, man, it's time for that toe to meet leather and for some helmets to start cracking.
That's right, man. Week 0 is here. Like I say, we're doing this preview for week 1, but week 0 is here, and I'm actually amped about it. I know there's no big games, you know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Listen, these are two teams that a lot of people in the Southeast don't really, I wouldn't say they don't pay attention to, but they're not really diving deep into it. So what we did was we actually went out and got somebody that knows something about the West Coast and how they live life out there during football season, man. So let's go ahead and bring him on, man. We're talking about Brandon. What's going on, Brandon? Washington fan.
Yeah, what's good, guys? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. How you feeling about the season being right around the corner, man?
Man, I'm super hyped. I'm like you. I mean, there's nothing going on for week 0 outside like USC, San Jose State, I think, something like that. It's like, but I'm still so hyped. I mean, I'm gonna be up early tomorrow, get everything going. I've got my game day set up already. So
yep. That's what I'm talking about. Friday night. So we're recording this on the Friday before week 0. My man's got his setup already ready. He's just got to get up and roll out the bed. College football ready, man. That's what we're talking about, man. You definitely belong in the South. So and then right. On the other side of it, man, we actually got a Boise State guy, and it looks like he is checking in with us. Let's give him a minute. All right, man. And on the other side, man, we got another fan here, actually an alum of Boise State to come in and give us the Boise State perspective. Told y'all, man, listen, man, here on the Fan Addict, y'all make sure you sub, you like, you comment, man. We bring you stuff that other people don't. You can come to the South and you can watch these people talk about it, but we got some people that live it every day, man. Let's bring in Matt, Boise State alum. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
If y'all don't think Boise State is dedicated to football, my man here has got his work gear on and he's ready to talk some college football. I'm all the way with that right there, man. So, all right. So what we'll do is we'll talk about the 2022 season just to get you guys' thoughts on how you finished the season. Then we'll talk about Washington's offense versus Boise's defense, and then we'll flip it, and then we'll get some keys to the game and some predictions. Y'all ready to go?
Let's run it,
sir.
All right, man. So we're going to talk about, like I said, we'll talk about the 2022 season recap. Listen, we'll start with Washington, man. Washington finished the season 11-2. It was a really good season. Listen, Michael Penix Jr., Like he's a real deal, man. I know Indiana's kind of, thumping themselves because they lost that guy. How did you feel about the 2022 season, Brandon?
Yeah, man, I felt pretty good. It's a lot of people that don't know back east, but we had 8 different players in the secondary go down for the season with injuries early on in the year. So we were running so thin in our secondary all season. So our pass defense was like Swiss cheese. People just ate it up. Luckily, our offense could, keep up. We had extreme fire. We averaged almost 40 points a game, which was a huge switch up because the year before we had John Donovan at offensive coordinator out of Penn State, and we were ranked like 128th in offense the year before. DeBoer comes in one season, brings us up to second in points per possession in the country. So it's like, man, I mean, one season to install that offense, we were scoring points left and right. Arizona State, you really saw the injuries kind of come down. We lost to a 3-win team. A lot of rival fans like to throw that in our face, but I'm like, hey, man, we beat you. So, I mean, and we finished the season, I think, on a 7-win streak. So it's like you kind of finished hot. We went undefeated against top 25 teams that were undefeated, that were top 25 when we played them. I think it was 4-0 against those teams. So, I mean, Michigan State at home, they were ranked 11th when we beat them. I know they didn't finish the season strong, but when they showed up, they were 3-0. We played, or 2-0. We played them at home. It was a big game at the time, and we crushed them. So it was like, I'm pretty excited about the way 2022 ended. But everyone's coming back. Returned all of our coaches. We didn't lose a single coach, and all of our offensive production's back for the fall. So it leaves me more excited for 2023 now that we're healthy.
Yeah, man. And then, like you said, under 1 year under DeBoer, and normally things get a little bit better. You see the most jump in progress from year 1 to year 2. So it's interesting. I'm going to be interested to see what that offense look like if everybody stays healthy. Now, for the Boise State Broncos, listen, man, down here in the South, we're near Appalachian State. We call them the Giant Killers, but before Appalachian State was the Giant Killers, it was always Boise. Boise was always beating somebody. Listen, I'm a Georgia alum. They took on my dogs in Atlanta, took us down, and it's like Boise is like for real. So, Matt, talk about the 2022 season, man, and how it went, as opposed to like what you expected going into the year last year.
So the 2022 season was probably the weirdest Boise State season I have ever lived through. You go in and you just throttle a team like Fresno State, 40-10, I think is what we did. But you lose to UTEP. And then you go in, you lose to that same Fresno State team at home in the conference. It was a weird year. Let's just put it that way. We had our 4-year starting quarterback ended up transferring out. He lost his starting position to a freshman, Talen Green, who I don't know, I would bet my house that Talen Green is going to end up being somewhere close to Michael Vick in remembrance, man, and how that kid can bolt. He is fast, he's lengthy, he needs to work on his arm. But we'll see what progress he's made there in the offseason. But and I'm convinced if we kept him in, if we had Talen Green all season, I think we'd have walked out of Oregon State with a W, because when he got in, that's when the production went up. That's when the points went up. He actually was the one who broke through their defense. They couldn't catch him. I mean, it's hard to catch a guy that every step is 5 feet. And
6'6".
then you've got UTEP. I think if he was in there with UTEP, we probably would have walked away with a W in that game too. There's no excuse for losing the conference championship at home. He was there. He had the game. He had the games under his belt. That just was a drop by us. But I'm looking at that. We had a lot of breakout players in 2022. We had Ashton Genty, who really took over that spotlight in terms of that power back position from George Milani, who was riddled with injuries, by the way. And you've got Talen Green coming in. We had a wide receiving core that took some hits, but we've got a decent amount of production coming in. I think that Green and the wide receiving core did a great job of kind of developing a little bit of chemistry, and it looks like that was further developed in the offseason, especially under Dirk Cotter, the interim OC that took over. defense wise. We had a killer defense last year. This year, I'm worried. I'm not gonna lie. And then to start the gate with a fully loaded. When I saw UW coming up, I was like, this is great because Penix is going to be gone. That he's going to the NFL. Their wide receivers are going to go, and then sure enough, the universe is like, yeah, right, Matt, and they're all coming back. So, I'll be up front. I don't have us winning that game. I'm looking at like a 38-24 loss for Boise State in that game. And I'm just being as objective as possible there. My heart wants us to win. We do get a little breathing room with your running back out, and it looks like you took a hit on the O-line there. So we'll see what happens there. I do think that UW's weakest point is their secondary, so I'm hoping that Taylen has developed some degree of accuracy with his arm to hopefully cut it up a little bit and take some of that pressure off the run game. I'd love to see how I think that a good matchup in that game is going to be the run game, Boise State run game against the D-line and linebackers of Washington. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at how we ended 10-2 last year. I still don't know. I can't tell you. By all accounts and purposes, it makes no sense. But we managed it. We took a bowl game. We took a hard, gritty win against a really, really nasty North Texas team. I think it was a good build for us, to build confidence in some younger guys.
Okay. So I did. I think me and Brandon was talking about it a little bit off camera. Brandon, how are you feeling about that secondary, man? I know you guys, your defense wasn't. They were, like you said, people was throwing all over you, but you guys got a good offense, so we know about the offense. So how you feeling about that secondary back there?
Yeah, so we finally got healthy. I mean, last year we had guys playing all out of position. Javion Green, the staff flat out said that he should not have been playing last year. If there weren't so many injuries, we would not have played him as a true freshman. He wasn't ready. And he was starting as our corner out there. And even he went down with an injury. We had to put someone else in after him. So it's like, man, I mean, the coach DeBoer and Chuck Morrell, one of our secondary coaches, they said, we have never seen one room get hit with injuries as hard as the secondary room got hit last year for UW. And all those guys are back, and all of them are ready. All of them are healthy. They're all participating in fall camp. And now we have guys at the right position. Like last year, we had Dom Hampton in a position we called a Husky position. It's essentially a nickel, but with a little bit of a bigger body in there, more like a safety type, but that kind of runs the nickel and supports and run defense. And we had Dom Hampton playing there. He's a safety through and through, but we had to run him at Husky the whole season, where he was kind of getting burned in his one-on-ones and in man because he's a zone coverage type of guy and a run supporter. And so it was like, and now he's back at safety because now we've got Michelle Powell, who was playing on the outside last year. And now he's moved into Husky where he's better because he's a sure tackler. He can kind of run that man, but he doesn't have that lateral speed to run the full side of the field. Someone runs a go route on him, which teams kept doing over and over and over. Kent State did it on him. It's like,
Kent State did that on a lot of people though.
Yeah, that's right. So it was like, it's like Michelle Powell now got moved inside. We've got, we brought in a transfer from Oklahoma State, who I haven't brought up yet, Jabbar Muhammad, and he was all Big 12 corner. And we brought him in to kind of help our secondary out. He's going to be our best island guy, which our defense in its entire predicate is just to get the ball back to our offense as quickly as possible. To limit time of possession for the other team. That's what Coach DeBoer's philosophy is on defense. If the other team scores, he's like, okay, do it fast because we want the ball back in our offense's hands because we're going to answer you. And he goes, and that's his whole thing. It's like you want to create, tackles for loss, sacks, turnovers, or get beat deep. It's like that's what he'd actually prefer because our entire philosophy is predicated around getting our offense the ball. And so they just try to limit time possession. That's why our run defense was actually pretty good last year. It wasn't amazing. You look at the numbers and it looked pretty good, but you watch it and it's something different. You put on the film, it's like, man, like teams kind of could run it on us if they needed to. It's like 4th and 1. It's like we didn't necessarily always get that stop. It was kind of inconsistent, but still pretty good. But this year I feel way better about our defensive line depth. We got these Parker twins, Javon and Armand Parker. The reports coming out of fall camp are these two guys are just beasts, and they're phenomenal pickups, and they're both twins, and they're just awesome, and they really add a lot of depth to the room. Tuli Gasanoa, he's going to really hold down the front. He's a big nose tackle guy. He puts up 2 blockers, and we've got edges like you wouldn't believe. And Braylon Trice, I think most people know Braylon Trice's name at this point.
Preseason All-American.
and he got faster. His GPS track time, he got faster in the 40, and he put on weight. So he did both in the offseason. He's just tearing it up in fall camp. I mean, he's unblockable. And we have good tackles. I mean, Troy Fautanu on the left side and Roger Rosengarten on the right side. Both those guys, in my opinion, are as good as any pair of tackles in the country. I mean, those 2 guys are phenomenal. And Roger Rosengarten only got better as the season went on. And they're going up against, Braylon Trice and ZTF on the opposite side. And they're still having trouble blocking them. And I didn't see him struggle to block anyone really all season. I mean, they really held up. Michael Penix, I think, had the least amount of sacks per drop back in the country. So last year. So he wasn't really touched. So our tackles are good, and they still are our edges. So I like our edge room. I like our defensive line. The secondary, I'm more of a wait and see because they were all kind of hurt. Now they're playing in position. So we'll kind of see. I am more like I'll believe it once I see it, because I feel like it's too good to be true for this team to have a good offense and a good defense. Come on.
Now that you got everybody in their correct spots, at least what the coaches believe their correct spot to be, they should be better. It's going to be interesting to see him playing against Talen Green. I mean, I watched some film on Talen Green. Bro, that dude is like when he's striding, it's like he's in the end zone right now. It's like you got to get him before he gets up to top speed. Stat guy, what you got on that Boise State team that you're interested to look at this year?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, obviously, everybody's going to talk about Green, but they returned their 2 running backs as well. They're returning over 2,500 yards of rushing from a season ago. That's just ridiculous of the numbers you're talking about, especially with Green not even starting the entire season. So we're going to see week 1 what this Washington defense is made of and how good they actually are against the run when you're talking about unleashing this type of rushing attack. And then if Green can be a little bit more consistent through the passing game, Boise's going to score on a lot of people and score a lot of points. That offense is electric.
So, Matt, looking at that Washington offense, I think everybody thinks they're going to be one of the best in the country. What would you like to see from Boise defensively to try to slow that offense down?
So I think there's 2 parts about the Boise State defense I want to bring up. The first I'm going to start is the less talked about group here. And that's surprisingly is going to be our linebacker group. So we've got DJ Schramm, who we passionately call Bam Bam Schramm. The kid can hit, and he can hit hard. He's fast. He can really lock down on players, running backs. We brought in a really solid Russian defense last year, if I remember correctly. And I'm thinking that with that linebacker core staying largely intact there, that we're going to see a stronger than anticipated unit there. I think that a lot of people are a little concerned about the strength of that group. I know some Boise State fans have talked about that, but I think it's going to be a little stronger. A player that I want people to keep eyes on is Ahmed Hassanian, and the reason is I'm thinking that Boise State's had a pretty decent tradition of putting in some really strong defensive tackles out there. And I think this is our next one. I think that this guy is bringing in a lot of speed. He's bringing in a lot of strength. He can really lock down on a lot of players. I'm excited to watch him. I've been wanting to keep an eye on him. Of course, we've got Dimitri Washington coming back too. We've got Alexander Tubner. We've got Titus Tolier, who transferred in from here. A lot of the Boise State coaching staff really relied on the transfer portal this year to really rebuild that defense because we needed it. Yeah. We just did not have the depth there. And kudos to them. They brought in some solid players. So we brought in Titus Tolier, we brought in McCoy, we brought in Weegis. So they really hit that transfer portal really hard. Looking at our secondary, this is where I'm most scared. And going up against a team like Penix, going up a team that's led by Penix is just it's a scary thought, to be honest. And I think that this is where the breakdown from the Boise State defense is going to come if it does. If we can't pressure Penix on the line and we can't make him or force him into bad throws, and if our secondary at the very least can't keep lock and step with some of them long enough for him to second guess a throw, we're going to get carved up. And that's it. Like I said, I'm a homer through and through, but I can see where our weak points are, and I'm not going to deny them. So I am worried a little bit there. We did bring in some – I mean, we have experience there. We've got juniors in there. We've got a senior in there. It's just – I'm just worried about the amount of play time. And that's where I think the weakest part is. I don't think especially with their running back out, I don't think they're going to run on us very well this year with that defensive line and that linebacker core. You're going to get yards. I don't want to downplay you, Brandon, and your boys. You're going to get yards there. But I think where you're going to take it is going to be through the air with us. And we'll have to see. There's been units in the past. Last year, I did not think that our secondary was going to be good, but they were one of the best in the conference. So I could be wrong there. I could be wrong.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I think everybody would be scared of the wide receiver core. They got Washington brought back their 4 top pass catchers. So much so that they had a guy transfer out that actually is pretty good. I mean, listen, if they stay healthy, that's the thing. So both of you guys sound like, the first 11 on both sides, you're kind of confident in, but it's about that depth and the third quarter and the fourth quarter and what you can do if somebody gets down, gets hurt, or if somebody just gets tired. It is the first game. I mean, I know they've been all fall camp practicing, but it's definitely not like game speed. So that's going to be interesting. So what I want to do now, man, I want to get into, so I know you kind of gave us a prediction, but I want to just give us one key to the game. And then I guess the spread is 15.5. So of course Washington picked to win by 15.5. Give us your prediction again, and then like the key to the game as to whether Boise actually covers that spread or possibly wins.
I see an avenue to each one. I do see an avenue to a Boise State win. I do.
Okay.
And it's going to rest in that offense being able to outpace the Washington offense. Is it the most likely scenario? I don't think so. I don't. And like, again, I'm being objective here. I'm being honest and objective here. And I've been shocked before. My Boise has shocked the world. And there's no reason to think that they can't do it again. They have the pieces there. They do. Yeah. The offense is going to be, I truly, truly believe we're looking at an offense that is very similar to that offense that Georgia faced in Atlanta. You've got some names in there. We don't have a Kellen Moore. But we have some unknowns in there. Now, the difference here is we got a runner. Kellen Moore the second he stepped out the box, you knew he was getting tackled or he was going accurate. Negative yards. That was Kellen. Yeah, but he could accurate. Exactly. So, I think do I think Boise State can cover? Absolutely. I don't think your boys are winning by 15. I'm confident. You're not winning by 15. It's not happening. I do think we're going to cover. I do think that's happening. 15.5 is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot for a first game. It's a lot for a first game. But
it is. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I've actually.
I'm thinking 38.
I think Washington covers.
Oh, okay.
I gotta say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well let Matt get his score prediction in, and then we're gonna get to you. Yeah, we're gonna get to you. So go ahead with your score prediction, Matt.
So I'm looking at I think Washington's gonna get somewhere up in that 38-35 range, and I think Boise's gonna hover around that 24-27 range in a loss. If Boise wins, it's by no more than a last-second field goal. That's what's happening, but I don't think it's happening. So I'm gonna go. Conservatively, I'm going to go about 35-24, Washington.
I got you. Stat guy, what you got on at 15.5, man?
Yeah, so look, man, first of all, man, y'all make sure y'all jump in the comment section. We love going back and forth with everybody in the comments. Y'all be sure to comment on the video. Let us know what you like, don't like. Give us y'all score predictions. But as far as for mine, the key to the game, I think, honestly, is going to be the fact that Brandon spoke on it earlier. Washington will let you score so they can get the ball back. And so because of that, I do believe that Boise State will end up covering. But I have Washington winning this game 49-35. In
And a
shootout.
barber.
Yeah, absolute shootout in week 1. Light up the scoreboard. We love to see it here on the East Coast.
That's right. All right, Brandon. 15 and a half, man. Give us one key to the game, and then what you think about that spread.
Okay. My main key to the game is going to be Grubb, his play calling. Sometimes he likes to get too cute and he kind of throws some stuff in there that just kind of isn't necessary. Like against UCLA on our own goal line, he did a little, halfback pitch to the strong side with Tualapapa, and he ended up dropping the ball, and it was a fumble, and they recovered it. And it was just an unnecessary play call. There's a few times like that where Grubb kind of tried to get too cute with his play calling. When we just went out, and it's different for Washington offense because we pass to set up the run. So we pass. The other team starts dropping back, pulling their linebackers back into coverage. No one's cheating up to the line, and then boom, we hit you with a little halfback dive, a little zone read, and we've got and there's a misconception about Cam Davis going down. He was actually our running back too. So Dylan Johnson's our starter, and he's still healthy. So Cam Davis was going to be more of our short, our kind of a goal line package, or third and short, something like that. That's when we bring in Cam Davis. They both got hands, but the guy filling in for Wayne Tualapapa, who left for the Seahawks last year because eligibility, was Dylan Johnson. So he's going to get that role, probably get most of the carries, most of the targets, sort of like Wayne did last year. But our main thing is Grubb just can't get too cute. If he calls his normal offense and we go out there and we utilize, Rome Odunze in space, Jalen McMillan, both these guys were 1,000 plus yard wide receivers last year. Then we have Jalen Polk in the third. He almost had 700 yards last year. That dude's just as deadly as Rome or Jalen McMillan. And he's totally slept on. But Jalen Polk, I mean, he can shred you too. Like, who do you double cover? Like, you can't. You pick your poison with our offense, and we go like 6 deep at wide receiver. So it's like, even if one of those guys is limited in some capacity, we bring up this kid named Denzel Boston. No one's heard of him yet because he only played in like 4 or 5 games last year and only had a few targets and like 1 touchdown. But all reports out of camp is this kid is pushing Odunze and McMillan to their limits, is right on their heels. He's bigger than both of them. He can go up and high point the ball. He's more of a 50-50 catch guy. He's fast. He's strong. He's just, and so they think Boston's going to be this next big thing when Roman and McMillan move on, but they said he's going to be impossible to keep off the field this year. So we've got at least, 4 elite depth in wide receiver. Our running back, because we pass to set up the run, I'm not as worried about running on offense. We run a lot more in the red zone. That's why Penix didn't throw as many touchdown passes as he did compared to yards. He only had 31 touchdowns last year compared to like 4,700 passing yards. But because we run a lot more in the red zone, and that Cam Davis will be missed in those things. But Richard Newton's a good short line back too, and he's like a 5th-year senior, so he we know what we're going to get out of Newton. He runs hard. He hits the whole hard. He's not as he kind of fumbles a little more often than Cam Davis does, but he's Richard Newton's still right there, and he's injury prone too, so we got to watch out, keep him healthy too. But offensively, I think we're going to score a lot of points really fast. I think the fact that Boise is going to have to get in a position where they're going to test Green, they're going to need to start passing with him. I don't trust their passing game enough to be able to keep up. And once Washington kind of gets rolling, we saw this last year, teams just start hanging their heads and they're like, man, this team scores every possession. Like, we just can't keep up. They kind of get down on themselves and they're not really playing the same game. And then Washington just kind of keeps taking it to them. And
so go ahead. I was about to say, so go ahead and give us a score prediction. Yeah.
I think like 45 to probably 20, 45-21. I would say most teams couldn't keep Washington under 40 last year. So like almost nobody could. So we always score. 40 is kind of our benchmark. We averaged 39 on the season, like only Texas, UCLA, and I think maybe one other team kept us. I think Oregon kept us under 40, and even in those games we scored like 38.
Hey, I'm pretty sure my Cal Bears kept you under there too.
Yeah, that's true. That Cal, we Penix was off that game. I mean, Penix just was kind of off. That was an off day, but Cal is always weird to play against too. Washington always plays bad. And then
They are.
Oregon State kept us way under, but that was
Well,
in a
Oregon
wind
State,
tunnel, man. I
Oregon
mean,
State had a good defense last year, so that's
it was
to be
50
had a
mile an hour
great
winds.
defense.
The winds were 50 miles an hour on the field. We couldn't throw. So
Yeah, I think one of the keys to the game is Penix likes to hold the ball a little longer than most quarterbacks. So can Boise get some pressure on Penix? And like you say, if Grubb gets a little cute, and again, out of your mouth, y'all sometimes just let them score so that you can get the ball back to your offense. And with a team coming in as an underdog, you definitely don't want them to go point for point with you and be in the game in the third quarter. You want to kind of put them away, and then, now you can score whatever. So 15.5 is a lot for a first game. I'm interested to see how Washington handles the expectations, because last year, I don't know if anybody knew outside of the Pac-12. I don't know if anybody knew that they were going to be that good. I think we thought they was going to be serviceable, So
no, not
now,
even Washington fans.
But now all eyes are on you. So how do you handle it when all eyes are on you? I think I'm gonna go. Let's see. I definitely think you guys will get about 35 to 38. So I'm gonna say 37. I'm gonna say 37-28. Just like I say, off of learning that I had no idea. Like the philosophy sometimes is to just let them score quick so that we can get our guys back on, because they don't believe that you can keep doing that all game long, because it is a long game to try to go back and forth. So Stat Guy, you got anything else on it, man, before we get out of here?
No, man, we hit everything.
Okay. All right. So, hey, listen, if you're watching the video, Boise State fans, Washington fans, get in with your comments. These two guys brought y'all a lot of knowledge about their teams, man. And listen, if you didn't know anything about either team, now you know almost everything there is to know about it. I'm actually looking forward to this game. I think regardless of who wins, it's going to be an entertaining game, unlike some of the week one games. So, I mean, and just in general, I'm a college football fan anyway, so I was always looking for it. I do have Washington winning the Pac-12 this year if Michael Penix can stay healthy. I got him in New York. I don't know if he's actually gonna win the Heisman, but I got him in New York. I mean, you throw for 4,700 yards. If you win the conference, they gotta at least take you there. So we appreciate you coming on, Brandon, man, and talking some football with us, man. We're covering the Washington Huskies this year, so we would love to have you back on to talk Husky football, man. We're probably doing about 6 or 7 game previews, and then so yeah, man, reach out to the Stat Guy. And Matt, you're also welcome to come back whenever you want to, man, to talk Boise. We like Boise around here, down here in the South, because they're giant killers. Hey, I'm a Georgia dog, so of course I loved it when you guys beat Bama in the bowl game. So y'all don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment, like, subscribe, share to your nation, your Husky nation, the Bronco nation. And make sure that y'all come back to the channel, man. And for our guest today, man, again, thanks to coming on, Brandon, Matt, and for the Stat Guy, I'm Coach I. This is the Fan Addict on the Fan Addict Sports Network. We are out of here.
Peace.
Come rock with me. We got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound, let's go eat. Turn on the Fan Addict, let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat everything up off they plate?